Good morning, everyone. Pastor Wes here, and this is our daily devotional, My Utmost for Satanta, episode 23 for the 23rd of April. Our passage of scripture comes from the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verses 5 through 9. They say this: What, after all, is Apollos? And what is Paul? Only servants, through whom you came to believe, as the Lord has assigned to each his task. I planted the seed. Apollos watered it, but God made it grow. So neither he who plants nor he who waters is anything, but only God who makes things grow. The man who plants and the man who waters have one purpose, and each will be rewarded according to his own labor, for we are God's fellow workers. You are God's field, God's building. A number of years ago, I was getting ready to deploy to Afghanistan with the Army, and I was wrestling with some call to ministry in that setting from God, and I was praying about it. And one day, for whatever reason, I just had kind of one of those epiphanal moments, those ahas. I was praying, I was like, God help me, God help me, God. And I realized, man, my prayers are really self-centered. I keep thinking about me, and what am I going to do, and how am I going to do this? And like, isn't that backwards? Isn't our focus supposed to be on God? And it was really a watershed moment for me, and one of those things that you're doing things day by day in your Christian walk, and once in a while, as you grow and as God is preparing you, just like, oh, I'm just not thinking about this right, and it sparked some growth, and it did for me. And it introduced me to this theological idea that I hadn't discovered yet in the text, but I kind of came to it. This idea that it's not about us. You might have heard that before, but it's not about our work. It's about God's work. The theologian Karl Barth, who's rapidly becoming one of my favorites, talks about this mission of God, this missio Dei, this idea that God is already doing a mighty work. Creation was a mighty work. The overcoming of sin was a mighty work. A new heaven, a new earth is a mighty work. God has his hands on the tiller of the world. And we're not responsible for that. Thank God. God is. But we are responsible according to God's calling for us, as we read here in the text about Paul and about Apollos, to do the task that God puts before us. And I think this is powerfully liberating, because if you look at it one way, you could say, man, the weight of the world is a heavy burden. And we might, with our sense of love, our sense of care for our fellow community members, our family members, try to take on the responsibility of leading someone to faith. Now, can we transform human hearts? No. Can we overcome sin? No. All those things come from grace. Grace, our relationship with grace from before we're born to when we're born into sin to when we overcome sin and conquer sin, it all comes from God. And so it's powerfully liberating to realize I'm not responsible for the outcomes. I'm not responsible for saving the world. I'm just responsible for what God puts in front of me and says, Wes, do. Now, there's a flip side. You might think, man, I'm good to go. I'm awesome. I have all these gifts. People like me. I'm persuasive. I'm charismatic. I'm intelligent. I'm educated. I'm the man of the hour or the woman of the hour. And, well, there's that back to it's kind of self-centered, isn't it? But this realization that it's about the work that God is doing is powerfully liberating from our own hubris, our own arrogance, our own confidence, because our strength isn't supposed to come from us. It's not supposed to run through us. Its strength is supposed to come to the Lord or from the Lord, and it is to run through us to people to lead them back, not to us, but to the Lord. For me, it's been life-altering food for thought. We get it. It's not about us. It's about Jesus Christ, and I mean that's a struggle, because we're kind of chained to ourselves here, and it's really easy to shift our focus back on ourselves. But really powerfully recognizing that God is doing a mighty work, and we have a part to play in it. And so that is empowering to know that God is sending us to do that, but God is also going forward to do that. So he is sending us to go do the work that he's already doing. And I think with that recognition, it's humbling, and it's powerfully teaching to us that the purpose is to honor God, and to honor God through our actions, through our evangelism, through our Great Commission, through our acts of service, and ultimately to see people led back to God. And we know if God is who he said he is, then he can guarantee those outcomes, and we can trust in him, as we've already chosen to do by putting our faith in Jesus Christ. And what a relief. And I think therein you find some of that joy and that contentment and that peace and that purpose that we find in our relationship with Jesus Christ. Until we meet again, God bless you.